Okay, so hey guys, and welcome back to another Axel 72 video. And in today's video, it's a pleasure to be joined by Sarah Bailey today. We had Sarah on the channel a couple of years ago when she just became WBA World Champion, and now she's back. And I mean, her career's progressed amazingly. She's signed on with MVP, and it's a pleasure to have you back on, Sarah. How are you?
I'm good, but you know what? I'll correct you. I fought on an MVP show and it was co-promoted with United, who I'm signed with. So I'm
Okay.
actually not with MVP.
Right, my apologies.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
well,
all right.
I suppose, that leads on to an opening question. If MVP is to want to, sign you on, would you accept that?
There has been talk, there's been obviously negotiations, but at the end of the day, it's business and it's got to make sense for both ends.
Hmm.
So if it's a deal that would make sense for our team, then we would do it. But otherwise, I'm doing well here in Toronto. I'm bringing all the fights here, so it really does have to make a big difference for my career in order for me to switch over from United to MVP,
Hmm.
especially when you give away so much control as well.
Hmm. Am I allowed to ask what you mean by that control?
So with my promoter here, we have such a good relationship where I decide when I'm going to fight, who I'm going to fight. Obviously, it's a team at the end of the day, but a lot of the times, like I could say yes or no to certain things. But when you're with a bigger promoter, it comes down to them. There's not as much negotiating money wise. So I just feel like I have a lot more freedom being with who I am now.
Hmm. Of course. And I suppose, business wise of boxing in general, like you've talked about, money wise is a big factor. Have you kind of experienced the business side of things? Have you had many troubles with that so far?
Uh, Thankfully, zero troubles with United. He's definitely one of the best in Canada. I'd say him and Eye of the Tiger would be the best, the most honest.
Hmm.
And I'm quite a big ticket seller here in Toronto. So having that, having the ability to box, being able to market myself, I think all those things, for me, so far, it's been really good.
Hmm. Do you feel like the fans do appreciate your style of boxing being that more so technical? Because I mean, I've seen you fight on multiple occasions and it is a very skillful style.
Yeah, I think the fact that I can be technical and box, but I could also have that aggressive side too. I'm no pushover. I can fight on my front foot, fight on my back foot. Like whenever I decide, I could change it up. At times, I've even told my coach Stevie, like if I hear that the crowd's like, a little bit quieter, like I'll turn it up and I'll start walking them down. And he doesn't love it at times, but it's entertainment business at the end of the day. So I got to make sure that the fans want to keep coming back to see me fight.
Most definitely. And I'm sure for you, especially last time out, you were on, the Lucas Bardi undercard, and it was a great event. And I suppose, was it good to see these big events in Canada? And, I mean, the UFC's just been there last weekend. Is it great to see that?
Definitely. This is what Canada needs. Like, we don't have a big like combat sport uh part of things. Like we have basketball, we have NHL hockey, we have baseball, but the combat part of things is not big. So I hope that as these bigger promoters come and we have those TV networks, that these Canadian fans will continue to open up their eyes and see that like Canadians can fight as well. It's not just an American thing.
You've kind of, answered this already, but do you believe that there is a kind of underrated fan base for the combat sports in Canada?
Yeah, I just don't think we have the exposure. I think, again, with TV networks, we'll get more and more of that. Like I know in Quebec, the first thing they televise is boxing, then the second would be hockey. Whereas here, well, we never see boxing on TV. So I just think the TV networks need to jump in on that and showcase us more.
Is it a bit of a shame to see when you have these kind of younger fighters, I'm sure in your gym, coming through and perhaps not getting to, maybe watch the same kind of role models from, around the area?
Yeah, unless they come in person or hopefully there's a stream, then there's no way of watching. So now we have DAZN coming in, and MVP's brought that for us here. United has done that a couple times too. So again, the more and more we keep bringing these TV networks in, the more popular the sport will get, and then we all get exposure. Everyone wins.
And I'm sure you can't really give too much away about a next possible matchup for yourself. But do you think there'll be another big card happening with your name on it soon?
Yes, so my promoter knows that I've asked for unification. I've asked it since last year. I really want to make sure it happens before the end of 2025, and I know that it's in the books for either September, if not September, hopefully December, but it's definitely going to have to happen because I don't want to wait any longer. I
Mhm.
don't want to be just defending the WBA title. I want to move on to unified and undisputed. So, and I want to do that at the weight class I'm in at 108 pounds. I've told my coach, he knows I can make 105 pounds if I have to. I could be a two division world champion. So that could be something we looked for September if this unification doesn't happen. But I just want a different narrative to everyone else. And I don't want to keep defending the same title over and over again. I don't care to hang on to these titles. I want people to challenge me. So whatever that challenge is, bring it because I get bored. I just need something different.
No, I really appreciate that mindset. It's refreshing to hear realistically because, I cover on this channel quite a lot of lower weight class world championship level female fights. And, there is the case quite often where there's a few champions in South America and they're not always defending or wanting to go for these unifications. And is it frustrating on your side of things?
Big time. The girl who was WBA, WBC champ, Jessica Plata, who's now actually my mandatory, she fought for the WBA four times, I believe, in like 3, 4 years. Like I've had already two title defenses in 10 months. Like I'm trying to keep going, keep fighting. I want to be as active as possible. I don't want to hang on to these titles for dear life and call my keep my world title for 10 years. And like, I want to move on. There's life after boxing too. So I just want to do everything I can right now in this sport and see how far I can go.
Am I allowed to ask you, like you say, you've been talking about activity and how you've been enjoying fighting a lot at the moment. I suppose if that enjoyment ever goes, will it be as soon as that happens, you try and just remove yourself, you just take yourself out of boxing, or will it just be, trying to do little things here where you can?
Yeah, I think the fact that I have all these goals keeps me very motivated. But say once I reach all that, once I'm unified, undisputed, I do a couple weight divisions, will I start getting bored? I don't know. Right now, I'm still very much in boxing and I love the sport. I don't feel like it's work at all. I absolutely love training. I know a lot of people don't, but I love every minute of my training. I'm happy to be at the gym 24/7. And I just obviously I hold myself back from the overtraining part of things because that can happen too.
Mm-hmm.
And I make sure I have my fun on the side as well. But I feel like once I'm bored, then I'll definitely pack it in. But right now, because I have these goals and I know that they're realistic goals,
Hmm.
I think that's what keeps me going.
For sure. No, that's great to hear. And I can see this enjoyment as well because you are, very open in your training and you post a lot of it on Instagram and it's, you can see that you're working very hard. And I suppose since becoming a world champion, has your training kind of developed much?
I would say just having that consistency
Hmm.
for the last 10 years has gotten me to where I am now, and nothing has changed since then.
Hmm.
2 days after my latest fight, I was back in the gym. I was cornering our amateur fighters. I am always in the gym. When I am not training, I'm working at the gym.
Hmm.
So nothing really has changed for me. Does it bring on more pressure? Absolutely not. The more there's eyes on me, the better I'm doing. So bring it on.
Of course. And, another stand-up name, which I mean, the top you're wearing at the moment is Lucas Bardi. And obviously
Right.
you're representing him as well. You were in the corner for him for that last fight of his. And, you know, how long have you gotten on with him? How long have you known him? And what's the kind of relationship like with him?
I've actually known Lucas for well over 10 years now.
Wow.
Back when he was amateur, way back when as a youth, my brother had fought him. And so I've known him a really long time. We were on the Canadian national team together. We've gone to trips together to Montreal, the training camps. So I've known him a really long time. And he actually started his pro career with my coach, who happens to be my husband as well, Steve Bailey. So we've had a really, really lengthy, long relationship. And before all these like MVP shows he was on, I was also in his corner way back when he was 10-0, 12-0. So yeah, Lucas and I, like I always say, he's like a brother to me. I no longer have my brother, so I feel like he's
Okay.
almost filled that void and always has been there for me as well. A lot of people say we look alike as well. So yeah, he's just a really solid person and super helpful in my training as well. When we go to Vegas, he's always helping me out as well and cornering me in my sparring. So it definitely goes back and forth. And it was just cool being on the same show as him. I never ever imagined being on the same card as him. And it was cool how it was here in Toronto, in our hometown.
I do love myself a boxing t-shirt, so I will have to be trying to look in to get something like that. Have you got any merch yourself coming?
Yeah, I don't have any currently right now, but everyone keeps asking. So
Mhm.
definitely send me your address. I'll send you some Lucas swag, Sarah swag. You can
Wow.
represent us both.
I'll be representing in the UK and getting the name out
Yeah,
there for sure.
that's right.
Well, obviously we've touched upon MVP a little bit, and we've just recently seen a big influx of female fighters going over there. And I suppose for yourself, what do you make of that?
I think what they're doing is absolutely incredible. What they did with the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul show, like everyone remembers the female fight. Nobody
Mhm,
cares about the main event. Everyone's been talking about the Katie Taylor Amanda Serrano fight, and they
mhm.
couldn't believe how great of a fight that was. Had they headlined that show, nobody would have watched, or not enough people would have. So I think what they're doing is absolutely incredible. It's so smart. Signing all these women, they're doing such big things for females, and Nikisa as well. Like they're so smart in what they're doing and who they're targeting because nobody's ever done that for the female. So it's nice to see that these guys are sticking up for us and just talking, like speaking on our behalf, how we deserve it.
And of course, Jake Paul is the kind of main face of that brand. And I suppose to link this to have two questions, what do you make of him as a promoter and then as a fighter?
As a promoter, just very, very smart man, good businessman. And as a fighter, actually, I'm very impressed for the 5 years that he's been training. He has improved so much. He has the right guys in his corner. And it's neat to see that, yeah, everyone calls him, the YouTube star, whatever, Disney character, but he's actually done really well for himself and how far he's come and his skills have really developed. So it's really neat to see that at any age, you can get to the highest level.
And obviously, you touched upon Taylor Serrano, their rematch. They've obviously got the trilogy coming up with that stacked female undercard. And what is a prediction, if I could ask of yours, for that fight?
The last two, I've given it definitely Katie Taylor wins, but this last one, my gut feeling says Amanda Serrano will get her win.
Mhm.
I love them both. I think they're incredible fighters. I look up to them. But I do think Amanda's like this close to getting it. I think the next one she will.
Would you love yourself just to have a kind of rivalry like that, something which can really, spur you on with just having these matchups over and over again, but knowing that they're always going to be really entertaining?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And different outcomes each time. And
Mhm,
just the intensity's been different. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I want to think that I'm the best in my division,
mhm,
but if someone can challenge me, then great.
mhm. And possibly, would I be allowed to ask a month in which you may be looking to come back in?
A month, like to fight.
Yes.
Yeah, I believe it's going to be September for sure.
Okay.
And then if the September one happens, then definitely December as well. I'm hoping for two more this year.
Wow. Okay. So if I am to mention one name who's also, Canadian, she's moved down to minimum weight from what I believe recently in Kim Clavel. She's somebody who's fought at a high level. Would that be a contest in which you would entertain?
Yeah, if I was to ever move down or she ever moved up, maybe. Kim Clavel's an awesome human being. I also fought on the national team with her. We
Mhm,
were obviously in different weight classes, so we traveled the world together. She's been my sparring partner in the past. I think highly of her. She was a former world champion. If it's in the books and it made sense, definitely. But like I said, like I like fighting here in Toronto and it makes sense for me business wise and everything. So if there was conversation, maybe my team would have to talk about it and her team and see where we would be at. But um, if I was to ever move down, yeah, possibly. But the thing is, like, I want to be fighting for world titles. So currently, she does not have any titles on her hands. So I just don't know where it would make sense to do that.
No, of course, it's when the money makes sense, and it's also, when it makes sense for yourself as a fighter. And as you know, you work with a lot of fighters, and you are in a seemingly a great gym as well. And for myself as a Brit, I want to educate myself in fighters. Is there any kind of names for who you work with, who you train with, that you would mention to say to keep an eye out for the future?
I would just keep say obviously Lucas Body's name's out there, but keep watching. I know there was talks of him fighting Schofield. I don't know if that's going to work out, but just keep looking out for that name because uh, I think he's going to really shock the world and he'll be the next world champion.
Do you think there ever will be a rematch between him and Silv?
Well, I know that Ashton Silv didn't make weight for his last fight that was meant to happen a couple weeks ago. So if Ashton could make 135, maybe, but
Mhm.
I don't see him making that weight anymore. I think it's too hard for him, and I think once again it's going to be a very risky fight to come back from that kind of loss. It's tough mentally. I don't think he's ever going to overcome it.
Do you believe that Lucas Bahdi is the best male fighter coming out of Canada at the moment?
100%, yeah, without a doubt.
Mhm.
And I do think that he could contend with Gervonta Davis, and I think that that would be a crazy fight.
Mhm. No, for sure. Two power punches there. And, a final question from me, Sarah. I really appreciate your time again. Just want to open up the floor, as I always like to do for any of these interviews. Anything you'd like to promote or shout out?
Obviously, West End Athletic Club,
Mhm.
they been there since the start of my pro career, and this is the gym I work at. This is where I'm at. If it wasn't for them, I don't think I'd be where I am in my professional career. So all my thanks goes to them, and for everyone else who's tuned in and continue to follow me and follow my journey and support me. Thank you guys.
Of course. And like I say, I appreciate you very much, Sarah, for coming on. I mean, I'm a big fan of you now and been watching from, a different country or worldwide now, in my opinion. And, yeah, it's great to see you and best of luck with you carrying on in your want for more world titles.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much, and we'll chat hopefully the next time I have two world titles.
Definitely. I cannot wait. Brilliant. Thank you very much, Sarah.
Awesome. Thank you. Take care.
Take care. Thank you.